today's episode, we're not just talking about what matters, we're asking what matters most. Because every time you choose between two options, you're revealing your values, whether you realize it or not. And in this episode, I want to help you to start to choose on purpose, to make your wealthy life a priority before it's too late. I spoke with a client recently and they have a vision about what they want for their future, but declared they did not have the time to make the changes necessary to achieve that goal. And as we spoke, it was clear, so clear, that they've been trained, as many of us have, to be a good and loyal, hard-working employee, putting in, by their own admission, 10 or 11-hour days. Does that sound familiar to you, maybe? And they're not alone. I hear variations on this problem on a weekly basis as I have calls with clients and people that just need my help. That last conversation really focused my mind on finding a way to help you, the listener, either avoid the challenge completely, or if you're facing that challenge, not having enough time to put your priorities first or even know your priorities, I want to get you out of the pickle you're in. And I'd like you to come with me as we talk through over the next half an hour or so. And I want to guide you through this thorny issue so that you can start putting yourself first, you and your needs. So my name is Vicky Boucher and this is A Wealthy Life, and I'm going to start you with a question: what matters to you most? Now, is it that easy to answer, or is it difficult for you? Do your priorities just roll off your tongue because you're so clear? Now, on the minuscule chance that you've answered yes, it's really easy for you to list your priorities. You know it all. That's great. But what I'd like to say is, even if you believe you know your priorities, I would like you to first list them and review them. And I would suggest, as I do to everyone, to go and visit the values manual that is in the community. So if you look at the show notes, there's the Wealthy Life community. It's free to join. Just go in there and download the values manual and then re-extrapolate. I'm not even sure if that's a word. You can extrapolate. Can you re-extrapolate your priorities based on those values? That's if you know what you're doing. If you know what you're doing, go check your values, check your priorities, and then you're off and you're running, you're fine. But I think that for the rest of everybody else on the planet, it's not like that. Now, if it is like that for you, don't stop listening, because I think you're going to find some insights in here. And I've created a quiz for you to do as well. But what I want to do is say hello to all the normal people, those that are torn between prioritizing work and a career, or maybe even your own business over your own immediate happiness. And maybe that's because income generation is a powerful driver, and rightly so. But here's my big but. But what if you had created a world in which you focused on your priorities and how you wanted to live your life, and then worked out how you could earn enough money to live the life that you've chosen to live? I don't want you to get frustrated with me, because I know life wasn't like that, and mine wasn't either. When I was younger, and I'm not talking about being, a 5 or a 6 year old, this was seriously into my teens and quite possibly into my early 20s. I wanted to be Jacques Cousteau's undiscovered granddaughter and live out his legacy by scuba diving the warm waters of the world. We all had dreams. And then I realized that in order to get on with this world, or get on in this world, I needed money. And the difference is that, let me think, how much later, maybe 15, 20 years, not so long after school, I realized I wasn't happy. Now, I loved being a university lecturer, and later on, I loved helping shape education policy so that it met the needs of real people. I wasn't that happy with my income, with my general livelihood, and certainly not with my financial security, because it was in somebody else's hands. Let's be honest, if you're an employee, no matter how great your boss is and how much they appreciate you, if they do, if they need to trim the wage budget, you're as vulnerable as the next person. And it's only when you're your own boss that you do have a degree of security and income protection, well, providing, of course, that you're making some money. I decided back in 2010, this was probably about 2 years after I'd been made redundant, that I was just going to change things. And you've probably heard this story before, but maybe what you haven't heard is that I realized that it took me, I would say, 3 steps towards a journey and a life that I wanted to live, a wealthy life, as I now call it. And I want to clear that path so that you can join me. I want to help you make that shift in your thinking that means that you can still be a good employee, still be a successful business owner, but also that you can be your priority, that you come first. Because if you're not your priority, I promise you, you're no one's. So let's look at these 3 steps. And bear in mind what I just said, there is a quiz, but I'm going to talk you through this and then you can click on the link and you can download the quiz and you can do it that way around as well. Different people have different learning styles. So I've done it orally through the podcast, but also practically through a PDF that you can download. So as I told some of the brilliant people right at the beginning, you need to get clear on your values. That's the first thing. Because if your values do not serve you, they will disserve you. I speak to people that want to make massive differences in their lives, financially, creatively, all sorts, maybe through income generation, maybe through financial security. But if words like money or financial security in whatever form they appear aren't on their values list, then why, oh, why would their unconscious work to support them to achieve these goals? It's a real cognitive dissonance, one where you're saying one thing but thinking another. And frankly, that's the root cause of all goals. I absolutely promise you. If you're making goals and you're not achieving your goals, it's because your values don't align. So, what do you do about it? As I've just said, you go along to the Wealthy Life community, links in the show notes, and you go along to the resources and you download the values manual and you just work through it. It's a very easy exercise to do, but I know that quite a few people find it, I wouldn't say challenging, but stirring, thought provoking. And of course, that's the point of it, to get you thinking. So download the values manual, go through it. If you've already done this exercise, I'd like you to go back over the work that you did and to rethink it in terms of the question of what are my priorities? Now, the values manual isn't going to answer that straight away. What are my priorities? And then read through what you've written about what your values are. So in the workbook, when I start you off, I ask you what's important to you in your role as a parent or as an employee, as a relative, as a brother, as a sister, etc. Now I want you to ask yourself the question, if you've already done that, what's important to me in terms of my priorities? And then read the work again and see if something else pops out for you. What you might do is change a word or change an order of a few of your values. And of course, those, if you've already done this before, you'll have your values statements. And so really do a bit of work on that. That's really quite easy work to do. Now that you're clear on your values, I want you to do step 2. If you're stuck at any point, book a call, that's fine. So I have created some fun Insta Reels this week, so make sure that you follow me on Instagram so that you can see those as well. But what I'm going to do is get you thinking about these sets of questions. I've written them slightly differently here in the quiz. It's, much neater and tidier and like a one-pagey thing. But I'm gonna add value in explaining things as I take you through these either ors that I want you to think about. And gosh, this is really quite a deep one to start straight off with. what matters to you most, internal or external validation? Now, I remember when I first learned about this, again, way back in 2008 when I was doing my personal development. And this is really about your locus, not locust, the jumping insect, but your locus, your focus in a way. When you want to do something or to get recognition, do you look out or do you look internally? Are you looking for validation from others or do you give yourself the go ahead? So let me ask you a couple of questions here. What matters to you most? Status or self-worth? Do you need the job title, the external recognition, the validation, the ticks if you like, or do you feel proud even when no one's looking? Are you meeting your own expectations and that's what's important to you? Next question, what matters to you most? Praise or purpose? Would you rather be seen to do something good or know that you're making a difference? This is a bit like social media likes for young people. It only matters if so many people have given me a like. And I know for me that I'm on a mission to make a difference. I don't get huge likes and followings, partly because I'm completely rubbish at social media marketing. And a lot of you never leave me a review. But I know that this content makes a difference because those that listen and act tell me so. And the difference is even without external validation, but please do leave me a review. I know the most powerful thing that I have ever experienced because this is the transformation I created in my own life when I went through this process. So I know how valuable it is. And therefore, I have that internal certainty that allows me to put this stuff out there without checking first. So I don't check before I do a podcast. I don't write a podcast and then ask somebody. I don't make a video and ask someone if they think it's any good. I work with quite a lot of clients who are really struggling to do social media profiles because they're worried what other people would think. That's what this bit's about. Does it matter to you what other people think? So let's move on from social media likes and loves to a sort of a deeper, harder question. Is it validation that matters to you most? Are you only doing what you do for the applause? Or is it because you do what you do because it aligns with your values? So again, it's what's the driver here? Is it the fact that someone's going to go, oh, well done, rather good, well done you? Or you do it, nobody notices, but you know that you've done a good thing. You know that it aligns with your values. And if you're a smart aleck, you're going to let me know that you can both value the applause and be aligned, but hopefully you can see what I mean. I'm asking whether love or likes are more important, or do you count real human being friends over Facebook friends? Does family matter more, or does social media likes matter more? Is it social media recognition that's important to you? And actually, this is really important for your children and for your younger siblings. Bear that in mind because, and you might think it weird, but there are people out there that are now having AI girlfriends over human beings. Enough said, not even going to go down that rabbit hole. Let's change topics from the internal and look at money and work and what matters to you most there. So, new question. Is it how much you earn or how much time you have off? What matters to you most? Does your paycheck justify the toll that it takes on you in terms of your time and your lack of free time? Are you driven by the money to the point of exhaustion, or do you value your time? Do you go home at 5 at the end of the day and not check your emails in the evening? Do you prioritize your time with your family over time at work? And that really is that definition of a wealthy life. So For example, when you're at a meal, where's your phone? Do you have a conversation or are you out with family? Are you checking work emails? What's important to you? Your time or earning money? And is earning money impacting how you spend your time? New question. What matters to you? Being busy or being effective? Now, this can actually be driven by work culture. And of course, if you run your own business, then that work culture is you. So is it busy, busy, busy? Everybody has to be busy. I know there are some people now, particularly since COVID, that are working from home and they've got these mouse jigglers. And what was it someone said the other day that they put something on the space bar so that when they're in a document, the space bar is just pressed down by, a corner of a book resting on the space bar, and the system is registering that you're using the keyboard. Is it busy, busy, busy that's so important, or is it actually being effective? And if you think about it, if being effective is more important, you might plan and review your results rather than being go, go, go all the time. That would make a huge difference, wouldn't it? If you think about your employees, you think about your work colleagues, which one of them are just interested in being busy and which ones of them are interested in making outcomes, making a difference? And if all of our employees were interested in making a difference rather than having a mouse jiggler or something pressing on the space bar, then we wouldn't have these issues with we don't feel like we're getting value for money because people are at home and they're not really doing it. Because you've got that contradiction, haven't you, where the work culture is I need you to be busy. I need to see you working because I need to know that your mouse is moving. Whereas actually, if you're a better boss or a better employee, then what you want to be doing is, right, well, we've got this project. Have we delivered on the project? We've got this objective. Have we achieved it? That's about the effectiveness over the busyness. And there's a real contradiction coming in there. And then I've got one more question for you under this, which is about financial security, certainty, or financial autonomy. So, what matters to you most? A steady paycheck now, that financial security, or are you interested in creating long-term financial resilience and then financial autonomy so that ultimately you can reclaim your time? Because the immediacy of a paycheck could be keeping you in a place where you're not putting yourself first. And then, if you're lucky, you're going to get all the way through to retirement and you're going to retire on whatever wages that you're going to get and whatever pension, whatever you've been able to do in the way of investment, if any, because remember, you've been busy because you're always working. Or regardless of when you're going to retire, whether it's 65, 66, 67, or maybe they'll have changed it and be even later than that. Do you want to look at your priorities now? And once we've got the priorities, we'll then go on and think about money afterwards. But look at your priorities now and say, this is the life that I want to live. And then we can start working towards creating that life and funding that life. That financial autonomy is the point at which you can turn around to work and go, I don't want to work 5 days a week anymore. I maybe want to work 3 or 4 or none. Or I don't want to do this job, I want to do that job. And you've got that financial autonomy, that confidence behind you that puts you in that position where you can choose how you reclaim your time. I've got 2 more sections, I think, if I remember it rightly. So we're going to talk about lifestyle now, personal growth, if you like. Um, it could be that you're thinking about risk here. It could be about risk profile. So let's have a think. What matters to you most, comfort or growth? And what I mean by this is, do you like things to be the same? Do you want to know what's going on? Do you like to stay safe? Or are you good with not knowing what's going to happen? Are you good at taking steps towards stretching yourself into something better? Do you like to be in the box and you're quite happy in there? Or do you want to be out the box and you're happy being out the box and you're loving life? So it's comfort or growth or security, or are you a little bit more risky, risk averse, risky? This is a great one. It comes with a holiday metaphor. It's like my favorite question ever. Are you in love with the doing, or are you chasing the done? What matters to you most, the journey or the destination? And you'll often hear, any sort of, I don't know, personal development guru saying you need to enjoy the journey. Yeah, and you probably do need to enjoy the journey. We all need to enjoy the journey because we never know whether we're going to get to the destination. But it's easier said than done if your priorities aren't lined up in a way that are supporting you. So think of it this way. Here's my holiday metaphor. When do you feel like you have a holiday? When do you get that buzz of knowing that you have a holiday? When you decide where you're going and book it at that moment, which could be months or even a year in advance of you going away, or when you arrive at that UK airport with your bags packed, about to get on the plane. Maybe it's when you land. Maybe it's when you check into your hotel or your Airbnb. Maybe it's not until you're on the beach or wherever it is that you're going. What I want to say to you is that the sooner that you trigger that sense of success, achievement, joy, fun, then the easier it is to just enjoy life generally. If you are putting everything on hold until you retire, that's the destination, and you're not enjoying it on the way, then you're missing out on weeks, months, years of pleasure because you're just not enjoying the journey. So really have a think about this one. This is quite a deep one. I mean, I'm me. I've only got to think of a place I want to go. I haven't even got anywhere near looking the flights, and I'm already in heaven, and I'm enjoying life from the minute I've decided where I'm going. But what is it for you? And then here's one more in this sort of vein, and it again, this is sort of like tapping back into that sort of risk and reward and freedom and control idea. What matters to you most? Do you want freedom or do you need predictability? Are you that risk taker, adventurer, fun seeker? Or do you need and want safe, certainty, guaranteed? So that sort of like wraps up that section. And then I lied when I said there was two more. It turns out there's three more. So let's look at social and emotional first of all. And I've got two here for you. This is, do you want to be part of something or not? Is it community that matters to you or competition and winning? So this is banging right up against my internal dilemma, and I'm like going to fully expose myself as usual. Do you want to collaborate or do you want to win? Does community and working together matter more to you than being first? Now, I want to cheat on this question and say I blend both. Of course, I do. I'm happy working in a community as long as we're doing what I think is of value. Oh, I sound awful. I'm quite happy leading the group. No surprise there. And of course, I want to win because I want to be successful, and success is one of my values, but not to the point where I want to be a loner or a lonely leader. I'm quite happy to be a joiner and a collaborator. So I can sort of switch between the two. There are times when I want to set myself a numerical goal, a numerical target, and therefore I am prepared to work harder. But I'm also seriously damaged by being at university and having to do group work. Oh my goodness. If you've ever had to do group work, and you probably have to do it in your business, there you are in a team, three of you work brilliantly. One of you is always late in, one of you's a lazy bones, one of you never pulls their weight. And yet at the end of it, when you deliver on the project, whether it's an assignment at university or a project at work, you all get the praise. And yet you all know lazy Larry did nothing. And that's where my frustration comes. And I think that's where I'm then driven to like just get on and do it myself. But that doesn't mean to say that I can't collaborate. And what about you? Are you good at collaborating or do you need to do it on your own? Does having a community around you matter, or is it actually win-win-win that matters and you'll walk over the top of it? I don't think any of you are like this that are my listeners, but would you just walk over everybody in order to get there first? And then here's one more under this vein: support or independence? What matters to you most? Being prepared to ask for and receive help? Or do you still feel like you have to do it alone? Do you want to do it alone? Would you never ask for help? Have you got an independent streak that is so deep and so wide that actually it's a disadvantage rather than an advantage? But equally, do you need support so badly that it's also a disadvantage? So, support or independence, what's important to you? Now, if you can get on and do things on your own, but you know that you can ask for help when you need it, you are the perfect blend of the two. Chances are we fall one way or the other. And then this is the last one I'd like to bring up. This is about status, I suppose, identity. What's important to you? Your job title that describes who you are, what your status is, or it's almost like the job description. Is it more important what you do? This idea that title and what people call me, sir, lord, manager, director, and we often are in companies where having those titles puts you in a hierarchy, comes with power, doesn't it? But is the power really in the title? Because I'm sure we can all list managers and directors that we've had that have been beyond useless. Is the real power in the doing, the results, the impacts you have? So it's quite interesting. But where this leads us to is, of course, when you retire or you give up work and you don't have that job title anymore, if you're stuck in the title and the status that it gives you, that transition into putting yourself and your time first is very difficult. And in order to move forward, I'm going to give you a clue. This is one of the biggies. This is one of the ones that you need to resolve. It can be, not exclusively, a male issue. Men need a status, a job title. They don't handle giving up work and retirement very easily. They don't make that transition. And maybe there's a whole video series that I need to be doing there. And if you fall in that camp, give us a call. It can be there for high performing women. That doesn't mean to say if you are just a nice, averagely happy woman that your title doesn't matter. But often, if we go back to those first two podcasts again, the man is driven by money to earn money, and title matters to income. And the woman's job is frequently the nurturing and the caring of the family, and therefore doesn't get driven by the money because they've got other priorities. And here it is, those are the priorities. Just in those first two podcasts, podcast 1 and 2, your male partner could be, or your higher income earning partner in your relationship could be driven by title and status and the income that comes with it. And the partner that cares for the family could be the one that has different priorities. Now, if you're in a relationship, it would be great if you did this work, first the values work, and then answer the quiz and start to look at what difference this makes. And this is the last question. I love this one. Do you hold back until it's perfect? Or are you prepared to move forward even though you don't have all the answers? And I'd love it if you were the second one, because then we can move forward. And I think that this is another one that's probably a continuum. You're either going to be a perfectionist or not, because that, by definition, is what a perfectionist is. You are a perfectionist or you're not, but you can have some tendencies. I was hardcore perfectionist. I wanted to win all the time at university. I needed to be top of the class. I needed to be getting an A. We had our scores outside the doors of our university rooms, and everybody could see what everybody scored. And I was going to be up there, definitely getting an A, and preferably first in the class. And I'm quite sure everybody else hated me. I needed to win. I needed that external validation because it helped me calm the fear that I was no good. And now, after years of working on this and a whole load of self therapy, I'm still a perfectionist. Okay. I still want to do a good job. But now I'm a bit too lazy to want to win all the time. And I will only compete if I know that I can win easily, you know? So you can mellow this, but it speaks to often lack of self esteem or lack of value in yourself, general value, not the values as in the value magazine, but you don't value yourself, and that's why you're either looking to win, looking to lead, looking to compete, all of those sorts of things, looking to be perfectionist because you're trying to prove to something outside, and that loops us all the way back round to the beginning. Whether what matters to you is what you think and feel inside, or you're looking for that external validation. This closes that loop, that perfection versus progress, what matters to you most there. Now, strap in, because what matters most when work stops, and it will one day, will it be all about what you did for a company, be it yours or somebody else's, or who you were, stroke are? This is the essence of, do you have a persona outside of work? Do you like that person? Do you want to be more of that person? I always remember one of the first clients that I spoke to, and they came to me and said, I want to leave work. I want to give up work. And of course, I'm going to ask, why do you want to give up work? And they said, because my family is growing and I'm not seeing them, because even when I'm not at work, now we've got these blinking devices called phones and you can get your email on them. I'm doing that work all the time. I'm not present even when I'm physically in the room. If you can get your priorities right, you can solve that problem. And so now I want to take you on to step 3. This idea that you're going to make time for your priorities. And I said as I started this that I was having a conversation with someone about their priorities and what matters to them. And they said that they felt that they didn't have the time. Now, if you still feel like you're too busy, then your values are not aligned, or you're not clear on what matters to you most. Because if your values are aligned and you're clear on what matters, the whole point about what matters is all you have to do is work out which of the things that matter to you most you're going to focus on first. Is it your freedom? Is it your collaboration? Is it the love of your family? You'll know that. So what I want you to do is make sure that you save this episode and come back and listen again tomorrow. Because overnight tonight, while you sleep peacefully and deeply, your unconscious is going to be thinking about this. And then tomorrow, do the quiz. We'll put the link in the show notes. Do the quiz. Go through the quiz again. And if you still don't feel like you have time, do it again and again until you stop resisting. And if you have done it, I don't know, 3 or 4 times and you still think you don't have time, very definitely book a call, because you will be fearing the change. And you're only fearing the change because you're not certain and convinced that the change is one you really want. And that's why you need to recognize and focus on your priorities, because that's what supports you to make this shift in the way that you're thinking. You went to school for, goodness, how many years do we go to school for? A lot. Let's say 14 years up to the age of 18, from 4 to 18. And for 18 years, you were indoctrinated into the idea that you need to go to work, you need to give your all to your boss is going to pay you a wage. That's the way that you can be safe. That's the way that you can afford your house, your car, the things that you want. And then at some point in the future, oh, lucky you will be given permission to retire. And when you're given permission to retire, you will get a pension. Well, you and I both know that that pension isn't going to be enough to enable you to live the life that you want to live for as long as you want to live it. Because pensions, and this is why they're changing the age that you can receive your money, were designed for you to die before you could ever claim it. You know that. And even if you do manage to claim it, life is so expensive, and you're going to be fit and healthy thanks to the medical professionals. You're not going to be some doddery, broken person by the time you're in your mid 60s. You're going to be vital. You're going to have your mental faculties, your physical strength, and goodness, you're going to have all this time that you can maybe do some towards some charity work, but you're going to want to engage in all of the fun things that you have been missing out on because you didn't get your priorities right. Now, as a word of warning, you don't need to give up your job. I don't want you to give up your job. I don't want you to stop earning money. But I do want to ensure that you have a but I do want to ensure that you have a clear plan to put yourself first. And I don't mean a plan for your retirement, although you can have that as well. But frankly, why wait till you're exhausted if you could have fun on the way? This is that holiday analogy. Don't wait for retirement to enjoy the planning process. Test out the ideas. Go, do you know what? When I retire, I want to take up golf. I don't play golf now. I'm going to go join a golf club. I'm going to play some golf. Oh, yes, I love that idea. Absolutely, it's not for me. I'm going to test out bowls. I don't like bowls. I'm going to go to the gym more. I hate going to the gym. I want to walk. Oh my goodness, I'm going to get a dog. Test out the things that you want or think that you want in your retirement now. Start enjoying the journey. And we can talk about money in a few weeks' time. Let's get this nailed. So, as always, I want to thank you for giving up your valuable time to listen to me. And I want to leave you with more whoosh than when you started. So let me just remind you, you have more power than you think, but only if you claim it. Don't wait for retirement. Don't wait for permission. You don't need anyone else's approval. Start now. Start small. Start with what matters most to you. Your values are your compass, but they only work if you're honest with them. If you say financial freedom matters, but you never take the time to plan your financial matters to track your income and expenses, then are you really being honest? It's time to realign and to reprioritize. Your values and your behavior must be in sync if you want real change to be effective. And number 3, when your priorities are clear, your decisions will get easier. You don't have to do everything. You just need to focus on what matters to you most. And that starts with clarity. So let me leave you with this. You're not too late. You're not too busy. You're not stuck. What matters most to you isn't a mystery. It's just been buried under everything else that we've ever been told. Told this matters, that matters, this matters, that matters. No, what matters to you is what matters. And if you're brave enough to ask those real questions, you'll start to see those new answers. And of course, if you want help with that, there's the values workbook waiting for you in the Wealthy Life community. You can, if you want to, as a woman, go and download the YouTube video, and the link will be down the bottom to help you work with your financial matters. But better yet, if you need help, book a call with me. Let's talk through what matters to you most in your world. And until next time, I'd love you to make space for your values, your vision, and your wealthy life, because you matter most. My name's Vicky Boucher, and I am very grateful that you have listened to A Wealthy Life. And if you'd like to give me some external validation, please subscribe to the podcast, and I would love it if you would leave a review. Until next week, take care.